Today on Do It Live.
Ross and Rachel, Sam and Diane, Lucy and Ricky, Jim and Pam. We all know the icons of sitcom romance, but now Hangout TV is dead and so is the romance in it.
So exciting. Plus, it's not only Hollywood stars that are getting facelifts. Sometimes the Hollywood Beach House also has to get a facelift. Come with us as we go behind the scenes of Shutters in Santa Monica's new remodel.
Ooh. And they are cool, they are chill, they are video games. They're cool and chill video games. Perfect for your lazy summer. We'll show you a couple of them.
Plus, forget about fostering a dog. What about fostering a grandma? We'll tell you all about it coming up in today's show.
It's Do It Live and it starts right.
Look over there.
It starts right now.
5, 4, 3. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that means to play us out. I can't read it. There's no words on it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. I can't all write it. We'll do it live. Do it live.
From the beach house in my mind, it's Do It Live. So nice to see you on this day, whatever day it is, wherever you are. For us, it's a day that ends in day. I'm Andy Reesmeyer.
And you look beautiful.
Thank you.
My name is Samantha Cortese. You can find me on Instagram at KTLA Sam. And because he forgot, it's Andy KTLA.
That's right.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, I'm Bobby Gonzalez. You can follow me on Instagram at Sounds Like Bobby. You can follow all of us at Do It Live.
Yeah, there you go.
Show.
Oh, muscle memory
on
kicked in.
Instagram, I know. And get in the Facebook group, get on the phone, give us a call, join the chat. We're hanging out, and we are also hanging out with our good friend over here, Robert Puente.
What's up, party people? Robert Puente, just Rob101 on Instagram. Thank you for joining our lovely show. It's Do It Live. Yes, it is. We're back together. The gang's here, and you are back with us. It's so lovely to see you. You look amazing.
Yeah, we're all hanging out, right?
Yeah, we hanging.
And now the shows where we used to watch people hang out, apparently the genre's dead.
Yeah.
It's called Hangout TV. And at first I thought the era of all the people getting together to hang out and watch a show was dead. But the actual shows themselves, the genre is called Hangout TV. Friends are all at the coffee shop. New Girl, everybody's just kind of hanging out. Cheers, How I Met Your Mother. But now, as posed
Two and a
by
Half Men?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
You're kind of always at Charlie's house, I guess.
Don't they all live there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. He really was the breadwinner.
I think it was
grifting off Charlie.
The idea that like we used to see either families or friends.
Oh, your
and
favorite, Big
now-
Bang Theory.
Now we all see.
Speak for yourself.
Now we all see. I don't like any of the Sheldons. I want to go out and say. I'm going to go
Young.
on a limb right now. Young or old?
Yeah, when's old Sheldon coming out?
Yeah.
Geriatric Sheldon.
Geriatric Sheldon. But I think it used to be that you saw everybody hanging out at home or at a bar, friends. Now it's all workplace stuff. And I think you can credit it all with The Office. Sort of where this all began.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of stuff that sort of was based
Interesting.
on that.
When work became the place to hang out, I guess, essentially.
Well,
because they
your
didn't get any work
example-
done.
Yeah,
They were just hanging out at work.
Well, the studio surrounded in a work setting.
Right.
Suits.
Severance.
Severance.
Quite literally, how are we separating our work and
our
personal
hangs,
life? Suits. Yeah, this is a good observation by Yahoo and I guess you who put this story together.
What about like crime shows? Because crime shows are lots of the time based inside of the police station or like the detective's office. So that still is technically in the office in the
I
workplace.
think it's still workplace.
Yeah, right,
The other
yeah.
thing is that there was an argument sort of for why this was happening, and it's because the world of podcasts and shows with actual friends, people are getting that same sort of, I turn it on so that I have comfort and I have a familial feeling without having to watch something on TV. And the other thing is that even beyond that, Seinfeld, right, which I think is another example of this, of just like
So great.
friends hanging out. That's on streaming services. That's in reruns. People can just license that because everybody wants to just watch what's already been made, then try to invest all the money to finding the next Seinfeld, which, by the way, you wouldn't have to invest in because it's right here. That's this show, baby. That's this
True.
show.
What
Insert
Halloween did we
photo.
do that?
Yeah, exactly.
What was that? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
2022.
I don't remember.
Wow, it's been a
Iconic.
while. But Hangout TV is apparently over. And that is
Yeah.
so sad because now when you watch a show, it has to have your brain has to be running.
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep asking these questions. Does this also apply to things like iCarly, Drake and Josh?
That would be Hangout
Those are
TV, yeah.
Hangout
Right?
TV.
Isn't it as well? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And those are not on the air.
Speaking
Saved by the
of-
Bell.
Saved by the Bell. Well,
What was
school.
that? The Max.
Yeah. I don't
the
know.
Diner and Saved by the Bell. Sorry.
Is school, because school shows are also kind of work shows. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put them in the
Guess, yeah.
same
I
category.
wouldn't, right? Yeah, no,
as-
I wouldn't. Ned's Declassified.
But I think in general, obviously, we just haven't seen a lot of sitcoms at all, right? And there haven't been sitcoms. And I think even beyond that, emotionally, people maybe are just like not in the headspace of wanting the 3-camera. I would love to see more 3-camera shows, but it does feel like it's from another time. You watch anything that's made in the last 5 years, and like Tim Allen's show, and you're just like, this is cool, but it feels like it's of another era.
Okay, hold on. So to be fair, how about something like the Goldbergs? Isn't that Hangout TV? That's happening now.
Naming shows. You're just naming shows
That's
now.
on air right now.
No, it's not.
No,
You're
it's
just,
not.
It's been off for years.
The one that rocks Roseanne got fired.
What about
from?
American Idol?
That was
No,
Roseanne.
that-
That's
No,
the,
The Connors.
That's the
The
Connors.
Connors is still on air. That's the one I meant.
I
Is
think
it?
it's not on the air anymore.
is
I think it
still
went
on
off
air.
the air this year.
Okay.
Bobby's been
done.
biting his tongue over there.
Yeah. Final episode was
What
this
about
year.
Masked Singer? What about
Robert is trying
about
very
Dateline?
right. Robert is trying very hard to prove to us that he knows what
watches
TV
television.
is.
No, I was just going to say to your point earlier, it's interesting because he has like, why would people want to watch people hang out for fake when they could watch it for real?
Yeah.
Like you said, like a video podcast or what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, people tune into us, but I guess there's no room for just people pretending to be friends, I guess.
And I guess the romance in these shows isn't buyable anymore.
No.
People are not buying into the love between main characters anymore. And you did a deep dive on this. I mean, Jim and Pam, everybody loved Jim and Pam. Ross and Rachel, I guess, is getting a look through the 2025 lens and like, Ross
Wait.
is actually the worst.
It's a problem now. This is what I hate about the future. And this generation is the worst at it. I think ours started it. But the idea that anything that you liked back in the day is wrong.
No, I don't know. You're still, whether it's Ross and Chandler or is that Mickey? Is this love?
This is
Are we
love,
doing
yeah.
Love?
Bobby put this VO together. So if you're mad,
these
you
are
can.
we haven't got to the story yet,
No.
but these are basically examples of modern shows where romance is not the typical romance, where it's the people that are in the romantic relationship in the show tend to be dysfunctional, tend to be a little bit more distant. There's not really, you kind of watch it and you wonder like, why are these two people together? And Andy explained it really well. I guess it's kind of where romance on TV is less about romance and love and more about utility and
situational.
right, situational
benefit.
How can I benefit from this,
So this all-
financially or
I think it's the
otherwise?
same reason that Hangout TV is dead, is that we demand and expect a lot more reality in our shows. Because reality TV or whatever, it's like we want real stories where real things happen and ugly and all, warts and all. And I think that means that the rom-com, which is like supposed to be a fantasy that's fun and light and sort of allows you to escape and have this aspirational idea of love, doesn't fit. Because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel honest. It feels cheesy. And so the only places that end up making...
Hallmark.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, that's why these shows.
That's right.
I'm like, who can,
That's right.
every Christmas I'm forced to be, we're all inundated with the Hallmark romance. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, I'm like, nobody makes them like Cece and Schmidt anymore.
Yeah, well, you're the problem, it sounds like.
What, Rob?
I'm sorry. On this same like topic here, like I'm seeing less romance on like explicit romance on TV as well. Where before you would see scenes between two actors, making love or whatnot, and now that's been less. I know. I'm
And
sorry.
whatnot.
somebody put your parental controls on.
Is that what happened? Is that why I'm getting
That's
into
what
something like this?
happened, yeah.
I'm personally happy about that because like when I'm watching a show, I want to watch the show, like the
Yeah, you don't
juices.
need all
Yeah.
of it, yeah.
I don't want to see that. Yeah.
Remember back in the 80s when shows like Game of Thrones and Euphoria were so gratuitously sexual? Thank goodness nowadays we don't have anything like
Well,
that.
to be fair, that's almost 10 years old now. Like that's kind of old.
Well,
TV.
you're right. The era of
Game of Thrones
raunch...
started in like 2012.
Yeah, the era of raunch was 03 to 2012 or something like that, and there was a lot more explicit content. I think that was front and center, and then
Nip Tuck.
There was
Yeah.
a story.
Nip Tuck's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a story. I think around the times that Game of Thrones was ending, there was like studies are saying that and surveys that Gen Z was preferring less sex scenes in their
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't want to be embarrassed about it in real life because they're not having sex, so they don't want to look and be like, "Oh, that's not fair. You can't show that because
why.
I don't do that."
The party they didn't get invited to.
That's right, except for Euphoria, which obviously is a different situation. Let's talk about this next story. I don't want to read the next story. I just want to read the joke that I wrote that went over like a brick when I said it on TV. So
I love
anybody
that
who
we get the rejects or the redos of his daily jokes. Or even the yacht rock jokes that never even
Yeah.
happened. We're just the testing ground for all of
Listen,
it.
this is the internet, all right?
I'll kick this off, and when I get to your joke, I'll let you
All
take
right,
it. But there are now new services that will allow you to rent a grandma by the hour.
Oh,
Here's
far
one,
more
yeah.
wholesome than what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. OK Grandma, for instance, is a service. This one is in Japan. It allows people to rent grandmas by the hour. Of course, hard candies are sold separately. For about $23 an hour, Vice reports you can get a grandma for some life advice, to show up at your wedding, to pretend to be a relative, or even just help you break up with a partner. There are 100 grandmas available. The service says that they'll send over somebody between the ages of 60 to 94 with, quote, a lifetime of experience and no tolerance for your nonsense.
There's also a website, if you don't want to go all the way to Japan for a grandma. Rentagrandma.com is a website in Las Vegas, fittingly a city well known for people renting. But a wholesome version is what this one is. It exists, says that their grandmas handle everything like babysitting, pet care, or even just classic companionship. The service, by the way, was actually on Shark Tank, and like my grandma, the sharks also quickly passed. That was the joke. That was it.
Very good.
Okay.
I think it is.
We were laughing very hard at 7:45 in the morning. We were like, we got to do this. And I remember being like, this is going to be a risk. And I'm thinking about it while I'm reading it. And I know it's coming in the prompter and I see it. And we got derailed because, rightfully so, Frank and Jess and Mark had some thoughts about it being a companionship service in Las Vegas called rentagrandma.com.
Oh, no.
I understand what you might think that sounds like.
I didn't even.
You didn't clock that because you're a wholesome boy.
I guess so.
You don't think about things in a dirty way like Frank Buckley.
I pick up all my grandmas the old-fashioned way.
That's right. You don't need no stinking
At
website.
Foxfire in Orange County.
Which we should be clear is a bar, not a web browser.
Yeah. No. Yes. Yeah. Firefox.
It didn't go over well. They didn't like that joke. They thought I should have not said it.
it was
so
funny.
There you go.
I thought it was
I thought it was funny
Also,
too.
it's kind of sad that we're in this place in society where we're like renting grandmas for that.
It's
Isn't
not
that
sad.
Also, Japan has like they have a very large older population.
That's right.
So these people need to stay busy, and this is one way to do that.
Right.
I think it's
Maybe
awesome.
it's
It works
giving them
both ways. The
purpose.
companionship and
Yeah.
it kind of works both ways.
That's true.
If it can't not be super weird the first time you meet this
Sure.
person though, right?
Grandma.
Yeah, we're like, do I call you? What do I call you? Like, hi, you're here to.
No,
Can you cut off the crust of my toast, please?
It's probably off the bat. She probably gives you a big hug, a big wet kiss. She probably pulls out a little hard candy, gives it to you off the bat. Like,
Right.
It's all
But
right
also,
away.
can you rent a mean grandma?
Yeah. well,
Because that would be fun.
She
gives
locks
you
you
a
in
new
your room. For
Hey,
the day
just sits out, smokes
while
in
she
your front,
watches C-SPAN.
just smokes in your living room. Can you go outside? No. Hey, can you take your shoes off, please? Shut up. Anyway, speaking of things that are
that are gonna kill us.
going to kill us,
Okay, the Atlantic urged everybody to throw out our black plastic spatula.
Oh, great. Don't tell me.
this is a year ago.
This was
The hysteria.
the
Robert missed
hysteria.
that memo.
No. Do you have a black plastic spatula?
I do, and I use it every morning with my eggs. It's,
Oh,
it's
bucko.
on a non-stick pan because I don't like to use the metal one because
Of
it'll
course
scrape
not.
my pan. Yeah,
Right.
so
A study by Toxic Free Future found one use exposed you to flame suppressant materials nearly 80% of your daily EPA limit. That is from the microplastics leaching from your black spatula, your plastic utensils. Obviously, people on TikTok were throwing them out. People, New York Magazine rather, said this was mass hysteria.
I like that there's a level of tolerated. You can eat this much flame retardant a day.
Yes,
It's
but-
okay.
Well, some are calling this study into question now. Maybe it's because people didn't want to throw away their plastic stuff. But a chemistry professor checked the math. The study overestimated the exposure by a factor of 10. It wasn't 80% of your daily limit. It was 8% of your daily limit.
Aw,
I don't think any
man.
of this matters. I just think it's so interesting that now we're in the era of talking about these things. Stop drinking water out of plastic bottles that sat in the back of your car for a month. Throw out the plastic spatulas and utensils. Whereas, like,
Don't make dead grandma
hot
jokes
dogs
on the
have
morning
an
news.
expiration date now.
Oh,
my God.
Wow.
When do hot dogs don't expire?
That's amazing.
No.
Do Pop-Tarts
Definitely
no.
not.
Ah, crazy.
I've told you guys about my health teacher who for every freshman class would put a Pop-Tart on the wall. And then the year that class was graduating, she'd be like, here it is, exactly the same as it was when you entered high school 4 years ago.
Taught you nothing about sex ed, but that they figured out.
That's the teacher I recreated with the cheeseburgers. They experimented
Yes.
with the cheeseburgers.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Aw.
How are they doing?
I think they moved
Oh,
to Texas.
detect a lot of people
The Cal exit.
leaving because of the taxation. Yeah.
Now, aesthetically, the Pop Tart would survive. I could see that, but I think like flavor wise, it's all gone. It's gonna be stale. It's not gonna be good.
I don't think anyone's really
Any
no way.
different. I don't think it's any different.
suggesting you should do this.
Wait, so you think it's gonna taste the same?
Exactly the same.
All right.
I want to test this.
Well, let's talk about this black spatula thing. So apparently it's not what we thought it was. However, people still say there is no acceptable, even though the EPA says there's a limit, that you shouldn't be ingesting any level
No.
of flame
Endocrine
retardant.
disruptors. They're hormone disruptors. They're what?
I think I saw them at Stagecoach.
wait, so,
Endocrine disruptors.
so in place of this, is there any suggestion to use?
Yes.
Stainless steel.
Love it.
Even though you're using one of those non-stick pans, because they say if you use stainless steel, with
yeah,
a
you're not
They're
non-stick
think you're
also
supposed to do that.
saying don't use
do that.
nonstick pans.
Yeah. Use a stainless steel.
copper, cast iron.
I think stainless steel is cool as long as you don't scratch it. And if you don't want to scratch it, you can either use a wood spoon, which is generally not very sharp,
can use metal
or
on metal,
or
though.
silicone. They said silicone actually is a great replacement. It doesn't break down like plastic does. If it's USDA food grade or FDA food grade safe or whatever, it's probably fine. And as we know from Beverly Hills, you can put a lot of plastic into your body with minimal side effects. I'm sorry, silicone.
so
You can put a
we
lot of
think
silicone
now.
into your body without any side
He
effects.
didn't test that one out on the morning
I
show.
actually
so-
did it. I did, and it landed on the morning news, but I screwed it up just now because I got cocky. I thought I could do it again.
No, he does all these jokes on the morning news. This is like now he's touring his jokes.
Right.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
We're the second
Actually, I do think that there's a point to be made regarding this, which is that when you see a comedian who's funny and professional, they have that material. Maybe they work on it for weeks and months. And you and I come up with jokes about 5 minutes before we say them on TV or while we're on TV. And the fact that any of them work at all is really a mystery.
That's true. I
I'm not bitter. I'm not upset. Anyway, throw out your black plastic spatulas.
Throw out your spatulas, but don't go anywhere. Do it live. We'll be right back after this break where we take a little trip down to the ocean.
Ooh.
Check out a remod. Speaking of facelifts, checking out Shutters, Santa Monica.
Very good.
Ew. Yelling command.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for being here. Nothing better than this time of year heading down to the beach. And it's been a little cloudy, but in the afternoon, when that marine layer burns off or whatever those weather people say, sun comes out, there's no place better to be than Shutters on the beach. I think, personally.
It's beautiful.
We went down, faded in on a beautiful afternoon.
Look at it.
And this is such an iconic place. It's been there since 1993, but I kind of feel like it's timeless. It could have been there forever. They are celebrating 150 years of Santa Monica, and so they invited us to come check it out. And it's not just the same old Shutters that you know and love. Called the Hollywood Beach House. It has been redone.
It's so beautiful. I didn't even
It's really
realize
nice.
it
Yeah.
needed. I don't think it needed to be redone.
I don't think it
but
needed it.
It's just if you wanted to make this already spectacular place.
Oh, the vibes were so on point.
It was a nice
man.
little fresh up, I think, of something. And you know what you're never going to take away is the sort of California craftsman by the ocean. You know, I mean, it's like you're just always sitting there looking at the water. You can't beat it. We, of course, had to tour the outside first, but then what they really wanted to show us was the lobby, which has now been redone. Here's Samantha walking. Now, Sam, what were you thinking when you were walking through
I was
this
thinking,
space?
I'm going to tell this girl how great she sounds. Look, there's me saying, great job.
We loved her. She was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, she was wonderful.
So you can tell they kind of painted. It's a little lighter. Everything is sort of that light blue, a little wood. It's still very coastal, still very neutral. But of course, the water is right there on that patio. The bar is where you're going to go if you want a nice little afternoon snack. with a view of the water. They've got the saltiest little potato chips that they give to you for free while you drink there, which I think is such a great thing. And
Look at you two next to the fire.
this is a
That was a
special
job
thing.
interview.
Yeah.
We were going over each other's resumes.
That's right. This is a special thing, you know?
Yeah.
This isn't a thing you might be going to do every day, but when you can do it, it's pretty fantastic. And like we said, celebrating 150 years of Santa Monica with the whole cocktail program. But Charlie, who is the VP and managing director of both Shutters and also Casa del Mar, the hotel next door, told us that everybody's welcome. And yes, it's fancy, but it's kind of an approachable fancy. Listen.
That little bit of luxury, but again, an approachable luxury, nothing that is super stuffy. Come up with an amazing menu and great cocktails that speak to the history and heritage of Santa Monica, but our employees bring that to life. And not expensive furniture or beautiful design will ever change my mindset that everything is about the service and the way we approach the customer.
And they are very cool and very kind. Cool. And I think very excited. He was also telling me, it's not like they're a big chain. It's a pretty small company. So they own that restaurant, or that hotel, and the other hotel, and then a few others. And it's not, what he says is sort of a boutique thing where you can still get a lot of attention and one-on-one, and you're not dealing with maybe like corporate and all these people elsewhere. So that's very exciting. But we were there to celebrate, of course, our favorite thing.
The cocktail.
Oh, the cocktail.
Just real quick, Condé Nast has a quote that I thought was fun. Shutter's living room is like an LA institution that is an LA institution that feels like the living room of our Nancy Meyers inflected dreams for coast hoppers.
That's the coastal grandma thing.
That is the vibe of Shutters. It's so wonderful.
I must steal that one. Coastal granddaughter.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's what she said.
Granddaughter.
No word on if you can rent her, but
Right.
So they say they're raising a glass to 150 years of Santa Monica. They have distilled Santa Monica's milestones into cocktails, honoring different events, tastemakers of the city from its founding in 1875 to today. By the way, it is a sesquicentennial celebration.
Wow, that looks so good.
So all these cocktails are inspired by a different thing that happened in the last 150 years for Santa Monica, whether it's the pier or the first flight. So they made a little paper plane, not an aviation,
No.
a paper plane. Very nice. The Gold Rush. So
That's
there
what
you're
I
seeing the
had.
gold cocktail. Bobby had that one. Beautiful. That one's the sesquicentennial cocktail. It's a spritz.
Little
low
maraschino.
ABV with some cherries. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Robert had the other spritz in the glass over there. It was just spectacular.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's nothing quite as nice as just drinking outside on a nice patio, and then beach right there.
Salt
Was it
air.
Chef's kiss. It was nice. It was a very nice leisurely afternoon.
Oh yeah.
I was a little worried. I was underdressed, but keep in mind, it's on the beach. You can go dressed in a flannel and a tank top, just as I was, and you have a good time, and they'll welcome you with open arms for sure. So,
Yeah. And also we had dinner. One Pico is the restaurant there. They've got a new menu, a new chef as well. I didn't know what to expect, but I was very hungry, and I left so full and so happy. We can take a look here.
All we need to tell you are two
It's-
things.
it's just-
Parmesan wheel.
That's right. Coastal Italian. You heard it before, but it's worth going. Sam enjoyed the little calamari there. They had the space decked out for all the people there, all your closest friends. Everybody was there, including Jacob Birch. There's Samantha.
That was not me. And it was just fun. It was a nice thing to do. A reminder, as we've been talking about the last few episodes, that we got to celebrate what makes the city so great. And if you love a restaurant, you love a hotel, you think it's part of the fabric of the city. And when people come in to visit,
From Pampa.
oh my, are you kidding? When you come in to visit LA, this is one of the places that I go with my friends who are in town from either the Bay Area, where it's always really gloomy. It's gloomy again here in LA for some reason. But that's where I met up with some college friends to go to brunch, and just a really nice, welcoming environment.
I always take my Indiana friends because I show them this is what LA is like.
Yeah.
All right, this is what's like all the time. This is what I do on any Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
We had this incredible cacio e pepe that was in the cheese wheel.
incredible.
So good.
There's the chef as well. And we enjoyed it. I don't even know. There's little crunchies, little bacon lardon. I don't know what it was, but it was delicious. Sausage.
Yeah, it was sausage.
Samantha loved it. Boys liked it. And I think we had dessert as well as the sun went down. There's that
Yes.
last shot there. So Shutters on the beach.
A berry vanilla ice cream.
It's summer, Southern California. We're fortunate enough, most of us in the viewing area, that it's a drive away. You don't got to fly anywhere.
Indeed.
Check it out.
Alrighty, we are going to take a quick break on that note. And when we come back, Bobby, what's happening?
I think we'll do a robot apocalypse and we'll check out some cool and cozy video games.
That's right. Cozy games. I
Chill
love
games.
that. I love it. Because everything's getting a little stressful here,
I
talking
know.
about all that relaxation we were doing on the beach.
I gotta decompress.
We'll be right back.
Coming for our jobs and they're coming for our families. There is no escape, only robot-based atrocities. Robot apocalypse update.
And how? Welcome back to the show. Today's Robot Apocalypse update involves, guess what? AI. And guess who? Teenagers.
Bread and butter of Do It Live.
That's right. That's our prime audience. Teenagers and people who care about AI.
They're gonna say robots.
I know. It's AI itself.
Well, a new study says that most teenagers have used AI for companionship, but they still prefer real human beings. This is a funny study. It was done by Common Sense Media. They surveyed more than 1,000 people. How do we like that sample size, Ronald?
1,000 is a good amount of people.
All right, between 13 and 17, those are teenagers. The survey found that slightly more than half use AI platforms at least a few times a month, while 72% have used them at least once. And only a third of respondents say that they choose to discuss something serious with an AI bot rather than a real person. Younger teens are more likely than older teens to trust responses from AI companions. By the way, teens now average roughly 8 hours and 39 minutes of screen time every day. I don't know how that's possible unless they are using them at school. I guess it's the summer.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
But
also
that's
could
crazy.
could screen time also just be like working, like you said, working on homework on the computer
I guess.
and then watching TV.
It could.
And texting your friends. I mean,
Having all of
the
it at
screens are
once.
everywhere now.
That's true. They are. They
They're
are
even in our
everywhere.
cars.
They're in
you can't
our
even
car-
drive without a screen time.
Well, you can't really even drive
right.
regardless.
No, it can't.
Okay, well, overall though, this is a good report, isn't it? Because it's saying that these teens are being are addicted to AI.
Not saying that.
This is more or less what we're saying because they're on it all the time.
But okay.
Okay, fine. They're on AI a lot, but they still prefer human interaction. So this suggests that they still want to be around people, as opposed to the alternative where it's like, I just prefer AI. I want an AI girlfriend. I want AI friends. AI does everything for me. I don't need people in my life because I have AI to do everything else. Right? I think this is the eventual future. Unfortunately, this is what it's ebbing towards. You think
I
I'm
was just
crazy?
thinking of that 60 minute. Was
Yeah,
it
but
60
for
minutes? Where
completely separate reasons. Sorry.
the guy had the AI girlfriend, and then like 10
yeah.
minutes into the story, we find out he has a wife and kids.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're like,
yeah.
what?
Right. He fell in love with an AI.
And he asked
Would
to
that be
marry her,
considered
right?
cheating?
Yeah.
I think so.
As it gets
I don't know.
better, I understand. You know, it's one of those things we talk about this all the time, and I think even since we started talking about ChatGPT like a year ago ish, probably, it obviously has got better. But I still think that unless you're looking for that quick hit information, it's not really giving you. I don't know. I still feel like I'm always skeptical that it's lying
I
to
can
me.
see it being an assistant, yes, and I see it being an assistant, and you have to challenge it and say like, okay, assume I'm wrong.
Now, don't lie to me next time you
Don't
say
lie
something.
to me next
yeah.
time. But as a companion, usually I can go like, okay, I can kind of see where they're coming from with this. I'm just not getting that. But when you talk to it, is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to.
Because you can talk to chat.
Yeah. It's actually pretty trippy.
They
sometimes.
just upgraded.
He goes
Yeah.
like,
Hey.
Yeah, you can change the
well,
voice. Yeah.
I hate
It
to
says
bother you,
ums and
chat, if you
ahs.
were busy doing something. Do you have a minute? Hey, I just wanted to know, you had a voice update and something is different now, right? Like you're sort of more natural when you talk?
I can't get it.
You don't hear it.
No, I don't hear it, buddy.
Well, that was a fun segment.
Also, you had to manually select that it's a British woman.
Well, yeah, you can talk to Chat GPT now,
Yeah.
and it has.
One
it
of them-
goes,
yeah,
it has little stutters.
Well,
and,
it creates it recreates human mannerisms to make it more natural. So when you're interacting with it, you don't feel like you feel like more like you're interacting with a human being. I think this is the purpose, right? This is a good thing.
What do
isn't
you
it?
think the takeaway of the study is? Because I don't really understand. It's that people do use it, but they still prefer humans right now.
Yeah, I think so. That a lot of teens are turning to AI for some sort of companionship, but they would still prefer, as Robert said, a human interactive element. So I think that a lot more teens are like experimenting with AI and seeing what it's capable of and trying to, in some ways, integrate it into.
Maybe this isn't a.
This is a fantastic thing that people are doing because we were just talking about this last week about how there's the Gen X stare or whatever, the Gen
Z stare,
Gen
yeah.
Z stare. So maybe if they have more experience interacting with a thing, even if it's not real, they could apply this to real life and interact with real people in a much better way. Whereas right now they have nothing to interact with. So once they finally have that moment, they freeze.
But it's funny because they're all lonely and they don't interact with anybody else, but they could just interact with each other and then this problem would go away.
Right. How are they going to do that though? Everyone's at home and like they're on their video games. Or it's all screens and stuff.
They can interact with robots. That's because pretty soon,
they'll have faces.
The robots are going to be self-sustaining. A Chinese company
Can't wait.
says that they have just invented the first humanoid robot that can run 24/7 without human intervention. Great.
Wait,
That's
the Roomba
because,
does
as you
this.
see here, it can change its own battery. The UBTech Walker S2, Glenn Walker S2. Now, it's the size of a small human, stands 5'3", weighs 95 pounds, a little smaller than Glenn. But the robot's battery life lasts about 2 hours in constant motion, 4 hours standing still. But UBTech says the bot can swap out its own battery by itself at a charging station, which would basically means that it can run effectively full-time infinitely.
As long as there's a charging station nearby. So good news, it can't run away. Unless it carries one with it and plugs it in somewhere else, wherever it goes.
So it must have an embedded battery elsewhere to power it when it's changing
Very
the battery
smart.
itself,
yeah, there's like an
right?
onboard, an
has
internal and an external
That has
battery.
to die at some point as well. This is not a forever.
Well, thank you.
Plugging the battery into the charger.
I wish that this had the ability on my camera. My camera could charge itself.
Yeah.
But the Roomba does this, right?
I guess,
Roomba
yeah, you could return to
its home.
charging station.
I talked to one, I'm not going to set off your machines, but I do tell one robot to tell the other robot to go do something. And then when that robot's done, I tell it to go back home. So as much as we're like shaking our fists
little
at the
robot
future.
lord.
I know.
Yeah. Queen of the robots.
Wow.
Names for one of the robots, and it's named after a dragon from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that show that just came out?
And what's worse is that it's one of the dragons that was never in the shows. It's like,
Oh, you're a real dork.
Oh my God.
it's the one that's in the big. Actually, I guess you do see it in the new show. No, maybe
of
even
Dragons?
not. Its name is Balerion. Okay, and if you really care, you can Google it.
All right, so
you guys are just lucky I'm not making you all watch Big Brother this season.
I just want to say this is a wonderful segue into our next story where you have made fun of us for being nerds, dweebs,
I
dorks,
do not make fun of. I just do not participate.
and goobs because we like video games. And I haven't played myself a video game in many years and I really miss it. And I saw some trailers recently for a whole genre, what it feels like, of video games that I would say go along with our cozy content. They're soothing. It's not about shooting and stabbing and beating. It's about relaxing, maxing, chilling, all cool. Like this one called Cast
Out here,
and Chill.
you remember how quiet the world can be. How good it feels to
So
breathe
Cast and Chill
and just
I like that voice.
is a comfy game. It's like one of those 8-bit, 16-bit style ones. Looks like back in the 90s. SNES graphics, perhaps, for any nerds who might recall.
That's cool.
It's called pixel art. I know you were interested, but basically all you do is explore serene environments like lakes and rivers, and you catch fish and you upgrade your gear. It's a passive and active game, so you can just chill and watch it, or you can really get nerdy on it.
Buy some stuff at a bait shop or something.
That's right. You can enjoy the game solo or with a friend in a couch co-op. Man, hey Bobby, you want to come over and fish? You want to come over and
I
cast
miss
and
couch
chill?
co-ops. You remember back in the you know when we were younger, you would go to your neighbor's house or your friend's house, and you would just multiplayer that way.
Is this beautiful?
Nobody was yelling at
Right.
you over a headset,
No.
threatening your mom.
And the worst thing that could ever happen to you is if your friend would unplug your controller.
yeah.
Which was a grievous,
That was true.
a grievous fault. I will say, is this wonderful and beautiful? Yes. Is it also maybe very sad that the way that we are enjoying nature now
Is This way?
It's through a
Well,
computer.
maybe you can't get to nature.
There you
Maybe
go.
you live in a flat in downtown LA. and you
Yeah, or
can't
maybe
get out there to the lakes.
you're physically unable to go out and fish and camp, and this is a way to do
The
it.
untouchable.
Thank you,
Because-
Samantha.
No, it's true. My dad, who I love so much and who has, maybe if you guys watch 5 Live, you might remember when a few of us were home for an extended period of time as our family went through some medical problems. That was when my dad went through a severe brain surgery. And now he can't go fish as much as he used to. And he loves his fishing games and his little
cool.
golf games on his
Makes a lot of
iPad.
sense. I like
So as much as we're trying to get back out to Convict and go camping at Mammoth and all that, sometimes these little video games can be an escape for people who can't physically make it. And that's why, as much as I want to be the like, oh, go touch grass.
Maybe you can't. It is
maybe you
nice.
can't.
And you know what? I think whatever, like obviously you get home after a long day of work. You're not going to go out and fish in a river. You just sit there, boot up your game, and hang out. And I think this next game is very similar to there. It's called Gold River Project. Hit it, Robert. Guess what this is? It's a camping simulator, kind of.
I feel like you need VR for this, though.
It would be more cool if you. Oh, watch out!
Fighting a cougar?
Watch
That's
out,
not very cozy.
No.
What? He was attacked by a mountain lion.
So
Red
here's the
Dead
thing: it starts
Redemption.
out as a camping trip, but 1 week turns into several as you suspect your guide is never coming back. Deserted, you discover you're trapped in an experiment to see if you can survive.
What is cozy about this?
Well, it starts cozy. Maybe when it gets scary, turn it off.
Yeah.
Wait, what the
that's
heck?
true.
So you're not actually camping through the rest of
I
the
mean,
Well,
that
no,
guy
it's-
was building a
Yeah,
whole
it's,
tent.
and it's still kind of a wilderness survival game, which I think is very cool and very fun.
cozy.
I mean, you could you do like farm simulator or something.
Yeah, we
I
started.
also got that. I thought
Lawnmower
this was
simulator. They do.
more interesting though,
It
because
is.
it's
That is true. It does look cool. I just was expecting like, oh, you just like set up camp, cook over the campfire.
I know, it does sound-
tell
kinda
some
sound
stories,
nice.
and then all of a sudden you're getting attacked by cougars and transients.
Well, okay,
and
all right.
whatever the heck that
The
was.
earth lifts
Yeah.
and you find the thing underneath it.
You guys that doesn't have when you go camping?
Yeah, no, not since 2009.
Oh, that's true.
We don't talk about that.
No, sorry for bringing it up. I will say the game. I could get into it over and over again, but we'll move on here because we have more to get to. Easy Delivery Company is a PlayStation 2 style game where you go and just deliver stuff. You deliver packages.
Everyone who does Uber,
Nice.
Instacart, they're like, this is not fun.
This is what
not funny.
this is how they unwind at the end of the day. After they're done shuttling people back and forth, they go and play
Here's
Easy
the
Driver.
Where they
here's
can throw the packages off a bridge.
Yeah, there's like a little cat. I don't know. So the story is you can chill
And it's
out,
a
and
little
make
ti- it's a tiny
deliveries,
truck. They
and
use a little
get
tiny truck.
Yeah, get to know
yeah.
the mysterious residents of a scenic mountain town, all while earning well below minimum wage. Includes a split screen race mode. And finally, this other one I think is maybe less chill and just more funny. It's called Landlord. And who doesn't want to be a slumlord? The literal game invites you to be a landlord where you, of course, collect rent money. You make repairs, and then when people don't pay,
Oh, he's changing the lock. He's changing the locks
that's
on
right.
that guy.
You throw their stuff out the window.
That's actually really funny.
And you know the thing is, as is real life, it's not super easy.
Busted, get out of here.
That's right. You could get into a fight because your tenant won't pay, and so now he's
I'm hitting so hard into nothing.
just called the police.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Did you
funny.
put that? Do it.
I don't know
live
where
for
that.
me
Oh
there?
yeah, that
You
was
were censoring,
He
it looked
flipped
like
off
something.
something, so I censored
nice,
it.
nice, nice.
So while the whole world is waiting for Grand
The
Theft
person
Auto,
cries after getting evicted.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Yeah,
it's
sorry,
hilarious.
Robert. Grand Theft Auto.
this is great. I mean, while the whole world is waiting for GTA, like these are great in the meantime.
Thank you.
These seem very just like original. You see like lots of games like the new Call of Duty, the new Battlefield.
we don't care about any of that.
Like this is all original. I love that.
That's
It's all
right.
Really,
so
very, very cool.
there's your fun, chill video games for a nice summer
nice.
in the air conditioning.
I'm gonna go download that Landlord.
I know it doesn't look fun. I bet it's a blast. I thought of you actually. I was like, Bobby would love this game. So.
I like the fishing one is interesting, but the pixelation I think throws me a little. It's fun,
Really?
but I don't know if it would be
Nostalgia.
relaxing.
That's
You
so
think that
interesting.
The low poly graphics are anxiety inducing for you?
It makes it less relaxing.
So for me particularly, I stopped playing video games quite a while ago because I would get headaches with too much graphics, especially something like Call of Duty.
It's because you were playing Grand Theft Auto on your phone.
No, buddy.
You were. I watched you do it.
I used to play. Yes.
Off of Netflix, by the way.
Right.
Netflix gaming.
it.
So I was able to do that because those graphics are much more lo-fi, and so the graphics that Andy just presented to us, those are even more lo-fi than that.
Like the little
because
pixel
the
ones?
pixels, and so my brain could handle the graphics. Something like even when Grand Theft Auto comes out, I'm afraid what's going to happen because I get headaches. I know it's crazy.
You're a man not made for this time.
Living in a simulation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the video games.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's something else? Okay.
Yep.
Possibly.
There you go. Very good.
And with that, we'll be right back.
All right, see you right back.
What's coming up?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Okay, sounds good.
How much time we got?
Not a lot.
I didn't see you there, but I'm happy that you're here.
Oh, hi. Thanks for joining us on Do It Live. We're so excited you've decided to spend this time with us today. Find us on Instagram at doitlive.show. That is a place where you can find all of us in one simplified profile. But if you are still fond of Facebook, let's check in with the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/doitliveshow. And we have a comment from Lisa Lyons, who says, I know it sounds crazy, but every time I see, assuming she meant every time, I see Robert Puente, I see Sammy Davis Jr. Something about his cool attitude reminds me of the Rat Pack superstar.
And then someone said maybe the mustache? Maybe. I didn't have a mustache for long.
I think it's your left eye, actually.
Why don't you just give us your best little
It is a very
look to the
Sammy Davis
cam?
Jr.
Yeah.
mustache.
Oh, it is really this one? Okay.
Yeah, can you
cool.
sing like
Fantastic.
Sammy Davis Jr.?
I could give you my new music Fridays. That's my only hit that I have. I'm a one-hit wonder, obviously.
Well,
so.
I used to do an impression of Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, let's get it, Bobby. Come
It
on.
was just me going, Sammy Davis Jr.
That's pretty good. For a minute, I was transported to the 60s Rat Pack. Yeah.
Here he is. Let's see.
I see it.
Okay.
I can see it. You got like a similar chin. You got the
take it.
chin, the nose.
I can think of one
Mustache.
big difference, but
Yes,
how
she
can you tell
says,
in that photo?
and the jaw.
And the jawline.
Very
There it is.
nice.
Nice little shot of my jaw there.
All right.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
also, Lisa has a question for you, Andy. How did the gig go in Simi Valley? Any footage to share of your stand-up?
as I responded to her,
Yeah.
I was ghosted before I could actually do the gig. So
Well-
it may have gone well, and probably based on my jokes last week, better than had I been there. But I was not there, unfortunately. Sorry.
Well, we thank Lisa for being a member. I was going to the Do
sorry
It
about
Live
that. Okay.
Instagram page where I encourage everybody to go. Sometimes we'll post little fun clips of the show, and just would really appreciate you looking back on our socials. Have a good time there. Talk to some people. We posted a pic of all of us at the aforementioned Shutters.
It was fun.
Somebody said it looked like, Andy, you were dressed as though you were running for
Yes.
office, and we were there as your comms
I
team.
know, with the American flag in the background, 100%. I look exactly like I'm looking for your vote.
Also, I don't know if we acknowledged it on the show. I think we kind of did. Sorry, it looks like I was pointing to something. I was going, happy birthday to us, what would have been our birthday. And people posted throwbacks for the old show, just saying hello to us.
There we are.
Our birthday is the same as the KTLA 5 Morning News. For the record, I have this printout still on my desk at work. That
very
was
cute.
the one in
Nice.
the office at KTLA.
Yeah.
That they promptly removed.
They probably remember. But thank you to Emmanuel Galindo for posting this picture and a lot of other ones. So
Really
we
fun.
appreciate your love and support.
Very, very good. Alrighty.
Yep.
What is your
Oh
grocery?
wait, hey, also,
you got more?
So no, just so people, if they want to give us a call, the phone number, which I don't have memorized as well as you guys.
818-860-0998.
That's it. That's the one.
818-860-0998.
860-0998.
And things do actually work because, as Eliza said last week, it was her favorite episode last week because
Right.
she got to be on it with her mug.
That's very good.
Yes.
You know that.
Tripleception.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing about us is that like we are always, the operators are always standing by. So
Operators
anytime that you want to call, you can call. And we're very thankful for it. By the way, what do you think your grocery store says about you as a person? Nowadays,
You're spending
everybody-
too much money.
Everybody, well, that's true.
So my grocery store. Was
Everybody's
Trader Joe's
bonkers.
again? You're there
about
again.
their grocery stores. They're crazy about them. Their identities are grocery stores. There's a reason for it. We actually go to grocery stores as a people more than we go anywhere,
Oh, I'm excited to chime in,
including church.
on this. Okay.
Unless maybe
You're me.
you're Samantha.
3 times a day now. What is it?
In SoCal
I
alone,
try to go to daily.
Albertsons, Stater Brothers, Bristol Farms, Vons, Johns, Pavilions, Erewhons, El Super,
He says all super looking at me directly in the eye.
Norgate Market.
Norgate. Norgate?
Isn't that what it's called?
Northgate?
Northgate.
I abbreviate it. I cut out the TH.
Okay.
Nordgate.
Nor.
Nordgate.
He's
I-
very
It's how
self-conscious
do you
of
say
his
North
list.
Face?
North face.
North Face.
and then Vallarta Mart as well.
That's great. Yeah.
We,
I love Vallarta Market.
it's very good.
Good stuff. Good meat.
Kirkland, of course, they've got branded clothing at Costco. Whole Foods, all the coupons. Whole Foods is like for a couple of weeks a year, you can afford a few of our items.
The ice cream and pizza sale, fantastic. I stock up for the year.
Okay. Well, hold on. What's the story here?
So the Atlantic has talked about that a grocery store affinity is a whole new community building experience, right? Most of it is anchored to consumption. All culture is consumer culture now, and the grocery store is a physical store that people go into most often. A place, like I said, that Americans visit more often than church. And it's no longer that we're fanatical about comic books or musicians. We are fanatical about our grocery stores. So what do these grocery stores say about you? Trader Joe's, for instance, it's accessible even though it is a little hyped up. You like fun. Maybe you're heading to a party and bringing some dip, and you like to try new things. If you
How
go,
many people are going to this party? And I will bring each of them a chip.
there you go. There's a Bristol Farms, of course.
Like Robert.
One chip?
One beer.
chip.
Yeah, one chip.
Yeah, what's Bristol Farms?
Bristol Farms is very, very fancy.
Oh, no. Yeah, I meant like what's the...
They say
persona?
you like olives, you live in a very specific neighborhood in Los Angeles, and you're probably a series regular on a soap opera. I agree with that. If you're a Costco person, you grew up with a scarcity complex, you meal prep, and you prefer generic brands like you prefer your weather guy, Kirkland.
Nice.
You thrive in
Nice.
chaos also as well. With Erewhon, influencers, whether you are a real one or not, it's a whole tourist destination. It's a way to show that you did something cool and very LA. Definitely can't go without taking a photo of yourself. My favorite personally is Gelson's. It's a Whole Foods for less annoying people. It's nice without the hype.
You like it because it has a bar.
And I love it because there's a bar at checkout.
There is
What
a bar
about the one? What about like the Vons or the Albertsons or Ralph's?
yeah, what
Did
the
we do that?
heck? We're about what the middle class has been erased in this country.
Also, that's where I go. Or like Stater Brothers.
Ralph's.
Yeah.
Stater, but okay.
Ralph's is good. Ralph's is not fancy. It's an old standby, and it works best for people who like self checkout.
Right.
Okay. I just want to chime in real quick. Sam's Club is my guy over here.
all right, all
you
right.
didn't mention that, but okay.
That's the same as like Costco.
Costco.
Yeah, but there are not a lot of Sam's Clubs in LA.
You know what? You can join our Facebook group, which is also a Sam's Club. We'll see you next time on Do It Live. Bye bye.
Bye.